We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing this. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leo Mookie here, and I'm back with you on another new part of What If Will Had a Keyblade. This is part 3, and damn, I am so sorry for those who were waiting for that of this What If to come back. But, to be honest, I'm not too surprised that I basically dropped it for a good while. Mainly because when I made this What If, and came back with a new part, I barely got any viewers whatsoever. People barely supported it, and it barely did any numbers whatsoever. It honestly kind of hurt me to the point that I basically took an entire break from it entirely. But given that last month's Nintendo Direct, showing that Kingdom Hearts 4 is still in development, and I'm kind of a little bit hyped for that of Kingdom Hearts content now. So I'm going to try and post more KH content as much as I can on the channel. So yeah, at any rate, with that out of the way, let's go that of a really necessary recap. In the last part, we went over on how that of the practice exam basically was interrupted by that of Headless and Xeno, with many teachers basically dying protecting their students. Not to mention the fact that Will being compared to that of a legend of old, being able to use that to the Keyblade, with many of that of his comrades and friends either messing with him or congratulating him to thinking that he's a great warrior of legend because of it. However, it seems like those messing in the shadows are trying to increase or basically take advantage of the darkness of this world, with that of Headmistress Cauldron and Flynn preparing for the future, especially Flynn preparing for Will being this world's new Keyblade wielder. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Several months have now gone by, with that of everybody trying to get back to that of the swing of things during the academy after the practice exam, with classes basically going on, exams happening here and there. And one thing that stays the same and surprisingly hasn't changed at all, that being Will and his new dungeon exploring comrades basically clearing floor by floor during the practice exams. And not only that, Will working hard even though he is unable to basically work with that of spellcrafting classes. He does well at that in writing classes, getting higher scores than he used to back during his past few years. And with doing so, gaining more and more credits, almost reaching the credits needed to graduate towards that of the tower. He already has enough to graduate the entire academy in general, but he just needs one more point to ascend to the tower for the college level classes. with Waltner basically seeing this, seeing all of Will's grades, saying, "This is amazing. He's doing so great after all this time." With then a certain teacher wearing that of a red dress with a pale complexion and crimson red hair and black lipstick and crimson red eyes comes to that of Wertner saying, it seems like that special student you've taken interest is finally making quite the advancement after all these years, Professor Wertner." Then Wertner seeing that of the woman saying, Professor Eliza, I won't lie, I'm actually really proud of him more than anything. And not only that, however, he hasn't made headway in one other aspect though. With then Professor Eliza, confused, saying, "In what way do you mean?" With then saying, "It's nothing, just a personal project that he and I have been working on." As he remembers him trying to help Will understand that of his Keyblade, as for the past few months, in private that of tutoring sessions, Wertner has been trying to help Will understand that of how he used his Keyblade. As that time, he basically used his sword as a catalyst to do so, but after that, nothing else. Even when trying to think positively, trying to think reasonably, other things like that, nothing. He's basically just stayed the same the entire time. With Wertner hasn't given up, but Will, on the other hand, decided to just put it to the side, especially since he needs to focus on gaining credits after all. Getting out of his memories, with then just thinking that Will just needs a better way, but he refuses to basically send him back to the dungeon to basically be in danger just so he can use his Keyblade. As a teacher, and as somewhat of his guardian in a way, he refuses to put Will in danger just to awaken his true potential. However, even though Wertner and Eliza are happy for that of Will, several other teachers, on the other hand, aren't. With some faceless and nameless teachers not a little bit disappointed the fact that Will has gotten this far, not to mention the fact that he's getting closer to ascend to the tower, with even Edwards hearing all of this, and can't help but think all he needs is 1 point of credits to do so. Before that, he narrowed his eyes, and a look of pure and utter determination goes through that of his eyes. While Will, alongside Colette and Rusty, basically are studying for the past couple of days and weeks, especially for that of the last exam coming up, which is in that of Professor Edwards' class. So Will going over everything he knows, from notes to studying in the library to many other things, over and over and over again, to basically make sure that he knows to cover everything that Edwards went over throughout this entire year, and even past years as well. With Colette and Kiki doing their best to support Will and helping him out as much as they can. With even Rusty doing his part too. On one of the very last nights where Will is still studying in that of the library, he basically fell asleep, with then Colette noticing this. She can't help but see that of Will defenseless but adorable at the same time, as her face gets a little bit flushed, thinking about Will after everything he's gone through, everything he's done, especially for her and everyone else too. And she can't help but think, even though he does all of this for that of Elphiria, for the Magiavander of Ice, she can't help but not push aside her own feelings for that of Will as well. As she plans on going for that of a kiss, that's when Rusty soon shows up saying, "Am I interrupting something?" Before then, Colette freaks out and screams in the library. At the same time, Will basically gets out of his dreaming saying, "What's going on?" Before looking around, realizing, "Did I fall asleep?" Within, soon Rusty saying, "Good afternoon, Will. I think it's best you head back to the dorms while you can," saying, Right, as he stretches his arms. Before then saying, "Good night, Rusty. Good night, Colette," as he soon walks away alongside that of Kiki. Within, Rusty saying, it's best that you try as soon as you can and tell him outright, instead of doing stuff like that, Colette. With Rusty saying that deadpanly, however, with that of the smile, it almost seemed a little bit more menacingly and teasing after all, making Colette a little bit annoyed and also a bit on edge at the same time. However, before that of the exam could start, that's when Will meets up with that of Wignall and also Lihara as they heading to class, with Wignall asking Will how's his studies and training going to figure out that Keyblade. With then, Will basically still saying he doesn't still know why he hasn't been able to do so yet. And personally, he may not even be able to do it again to begin with. With Lihara surprisingly being the one to convince him, saying that he just needs to continue training. This is something he just fully awakened. He can't expect to basically get to know it and be able to understand its power so easily. You just need to take your time and understand properly how to wield it, just like any other form of ability. With then hearing that, with even Wignall caught off guard saying, Lihara, I know you're always willing to give out speeches, but personal support like that entirely is completely new from you. With then Lihara a little bit confused and also a little bit taken back by that, especially from Wignall of all people, saying, I'm just doing my best after all, and to help out that of a fellow classmate and teammate. That's all. As she says this blushing, with then Will saying, thanks, Lihara. I appreciate it. Especially you believing in me. With Lihara smiling as the blonde saying, if you like, we could spar after this. Best to understand while basically in combat. Don't you agree? With then, Will a little bit nervous saying, I'll think about it. With a look and everything. As they finally arrive in that of Edward's class, while they all take their seats, that's when Edwards arrives himself saying, calm down, settle down now. This is your last exam from me, and throughout the entirety of this year. You won't, to let you all this know now, you'll only have that of one question, and I will only receive one answer. Answer this question correctly, and you will gain that of 5 credits. So, make sure that you gain the right one. But then, as everybody reads this question, some in the class are confused, some thinking that this has to be a joke, while some realizing this test is directed towards only one student. With Colette in class realizing what the answer says. What is magic to you? With Will reading this question as realizing this can't be real. I can't answer this. With him basically freaking out, thinking about everything, how much he basically went through, how much crap he had to go through to being here at Red Garden Academy. All the ridicule, the pain, the suffering, all to chase and be beside one person that he cares about the most, that being Elfiria. And if he doesn't answer this question, or even give the right question at all, it's all over. With Will's nervousness overwhelming him, before then thinking about that of Elfie, thinking about her, about how she's waiting for him, as he thinks about everything he knew about that of magic, seen from that of Elfie, from that of Colette, from Scion, Lihara, Wignall, Julius, taking everything he knows, everything that he felt and realized around that of magic itself. He refuses to give up here and now. He will do his best. He'll reach the top. He'll ascend to the tower. That he swears. With Will doing everything he can, writing everything he knows and feels and thinks he knows about that of magic. Not giving up here, no matter how rigged it was against him. He refuses it all. With then, on that very couple hours later, the exam ends and everybody got their test sheets back. With currently now, Colette, Wignall, alongside that of Lihara, looking all around that of the campus. With Colette saying, "Did you find him?" With Wignall saying, "No, still haven't." With Lihara saying, "It's still just too early to leave now, but I really am worried about Will." At the same time, while the others were still looking for Will, that's when Wartner confronts that of Edwards, telling him about that question, that was entirely rigged, with Edwards basically saying that he's kind of disappointed as he made the question as easy as possible, and only a select few students even got it right. However, Wartner does not care about that, as he grabs that of his friend by that of the collar of his, robe, but then saying, "You know for damn well that entire exam was mainly specifically aimed at one specific student. And you know this." I had to ask why. Why would you go that far? Why would you do this to Will? Do you hate him that much? What is wrong with you to go that far? To basically ruin him like that? Before then, Edward saying, "What's wrong with me?" Before then, pushing Wartner aside, saying, "What is wrong with you? All of you. You, the headmistress, you're all insane to basically believe in such an impotent dream." As he takes a seat behind his desk, saying, "A sword can't become a wand. It is undeniably possible. This is a world dictated and ruled by magic, and magic alone." With Wartner saying, "But what about, and if you bring up that Keyblade again, I will smack you. That Keyblade is nothing but a mere legend, a fairy tale, a mere children's story. What we saw at Down to the Dungeon was our imaginations, our stress and our exhaustion in a stressful situation, playing tricks on us. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm doing this for his own good. Nipping such an impossible and such a childish dream is the only kindness I can do for the boy. And that's it." As of course, in Edward's mind, thinking that he's protecting Will, and all he's doing is just making him suffer, and possibly even taking this world's last chance of being saved from the darkness. But of course, no one in this world knows about that. With Will currently in the outskirts of the academy, sitting on that of a bench, looking at that of his exam paper with a big 0 saying fail. With then soon Rusty sitting right next to that of Will. But then both of them don't talk for a good while before Will basically broke, saying, "You know, Professor Edwards is a real jerk. You know that?" With Rusty not saying anything as Will continues, Why me? I never asked for this. I never asked not to have magic or power. All I did was try, give it my all. So why? Why is it that I'm forced into a world where nobody appreciates hard work, determination, and will, and only values people with power? People with power who barely understand what it's like to feel powerless. It's just... For then, he begins breaking down, crying fully, saying, "It's just not fair. It's not fair at all." Before, as he begins to completely bawl, before then, that's when Rusty wraps his arm around his roommate and friend and tells him that it's going to be okay. That you're not alone in this. That I am always here for you, no matter what. While Will continues to cry. At the exact same time, that's when Julius and Scion meet with that of Colette, Lihara, and Wignall. With then Julius basically sighing, saying it's pretty pitiful that you're all trying to look for him after all. If anything, it was about damn time he leaves. With then, Wignall basically getting annoyed at this, narrowing his eyes at Julius, with even Colette getting angry, saying, "What are you talking about?" As Julius basically saying that this is a world dictated and ruled by magic, just as Professor Edwards always said. A laggard like him, a person with no talent, has no right to descend the tower. Before then, Wignall brings his wand up to that of Julius's face, saying, "I would prefer it if you would keep that of it, just not disrespect an elf's friend in front of him." Before, as Julius narrows his eyes at that of Wignall, with Wignall doing the same, as he couldn't help but scoff in annoyance, saying, "Look, you may be an elf and you may be his friend, but that doesn't change the fact about the world we live in." Before basically knocking that of Wignall's hand to the ground, before going on a rant saying that magic is everything. This is a world filled with magic. Just because you're skilled and capable down to the dungeon with a sword doesn't mean a damn thing up here. Up here, magic, skill, and talent. That's what truly matters. And if you don't have any of that, before then, he basically turns around saying, "Then you don't belong here." Before, as everybody's still pretty pissed, before then, Julius saying, "Come on, Ulster. Don't you agree with me? You hated the guy as long as I did. Possibly even more." With then, as they look at that of Scion, as the redhead saying, "Of course I hated him. If anything, I constantly despised him, actually." Before then, he basically clenches his fist around that of his arm, but then saying, "However, what really pisses me off is that I never got the chance to crush him. If there's one thing I can't forgive him for, and is that I can't basically beat him myself. That is the one thing I can't allow. Not at all." Before that, that's when Wertner soon becomes in between that of the group, saying, "What are you kids doing out here?" As Colette saying, "Professor Wertner, we're looking for Will. Have you seen him?" Within, Wertner basically scratching the back of his head and adjusting his glasses, saying, "I'm looking for him too, actually. You guys don't need, if anything, you all head out to that of the city." Within, Colette saying, "But we," within, he grabbed on that of her shoulder, saying, "Don't worry, I'll go and find him. This is the end of the year, and I think you all should enjoy yourself at that of the Terminalia festival." Within, Colette wanted to say something before saying, "Please, it's the end of the year. You won't get a chance like this again once you all ascend to the tower after all." With that, Colette, alongside Liara and Wignall, all head out, alongside that of Scion and Julius, with that of Wignall basically sighing, saying, "It's moments like this that make the job pretty harder than everything, especially after all that hard work Will put in." With Wignall deciding to leave the academy as well to try and see if he can find Will. At the same time, that's when the Terminalia festival is on full swing, with everybody having a good time, family, friends, students, enjoying the end of year festival, with the current MC of the festival being that of the head of the witches' coven. Ascend to the tower is that of Clarice Sarah, a beautiful 20-year-old young lady with that of, with that of long blonde hair, with a large bangs basically covering her eyes, a witch's hat, and even having that of a staff as her broom floating around, with a sleeveless tank top and basically that of a long black skirt. As she goes on, basically excited for everything, while also seeming a little bit petty, the fact that even during this festival, she's still working after all, even to the point that she basically calls out both Wertner and Edwards about them basically having some time to have some fun while she has to work out here, given the fact that all three of them went to that Red Garden at the exact same time and year, leaving the two teachers basically utterly annoyed and also embarrassed at the exact same time. But even so, she still gives out that of a good time for everybody to enjoy themselves, have some fun, especially to count down for that of the rebuilding of that of the barrier. However, beyond that of the scenes is that of, well, Iris, alongside that of several other mages from the tower and from that of the other factions within the tower as well, working together, and alongside that of a few of the teachers too, to make sure that everything goes smoothly, with Iris getting everything from that of her, well, subordinates saying, understood, before then calling to that at the top of the tower, saying, it's time. And she looks back, saying, my lords, it's time. With that, back with that of many of the Magia Vander, with that of their own personal assistants and guards with them, as they all stand, ready to reform that of the barrier, as each and every 5 of them begin to leave, within showing that of each and every Magia Vander, with all of them all excited, with the entire crowd excited to see each and every one of them. Within, Charlotta continues saying, just to remember, this barrier has been protecting us for almost that of 1,000 years. To know that everything that many of our ancestors, our forefathers, been through is not meaningless. That there is no need to despair, no need to suffer, and no need to have your head down. Raise them up high as we all bid farewell to this year and reach for a new one. Within, everyone raises up that of their wands in support, with that of each and every one of the 5 Magia Vanders begin to chant that of the spell needed to reform the barrier. Valerie Terminus. And once the barrier is complete, that's when everyone screams a Happy New Year, with everybody letting go that of lanterns and fireworks. With that, everybody can't help but accelerate and enjoy that of the festival. However, that joy soon basically fades. Before then, certain writing comes up in between that of the tower and that of the barrier spell circle, saying, Happy New Year. Seeing all this happiness and joy is such an amazing time, as the writing continues going on, saying, so how about we spice things up with a whole new party, everyone? At the same time, that's when multiple purple spell circles that almost look like that of portals began to appear all across that of the city, with all of the civilians and even that of the students none the wiser, wondering if this is part of that of the festival, like a performance or something, some even thinking that this is just a joke. However, all that jokiness and that of confusion soon fade into pure and utter panic, as dungeon monsters begin to basically flood the streets, destroying everything in that of their path. As this was a plan created by that of the 2 now wanted fugitives, Headless and Zeno, as them currently on that of the high clock tower, with Zeno saying, after all this time, I think it was worth it basically being keeping low for a good time, because now let's see how well that with the Magia Vander weaken, because they can't use that of their spell, using that of Vanis Termina, they're at their weakest, which makes it also easy for us to end them. As Headless basically writes what he's saying, but before we head to take down the Magia Vander, let's have a little bit of fun across that of the city. Let's turn this into a party of hell. With that of a laughing emoji, with the entirety of the city, once festive, joy and excitement, now turning into that of a battlefield. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So yeah, next part, I'm probably going to try and get this out as soon as possible. No need to procrastinate on that one. So yeah, anyway, with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. Also, don't forget, if you guys want me to do that of a commission, what if one shot for the channel, please make sure to send me that of a super thanks into the comments as a commission. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie signing out. Later, guys, and hope you all take care. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end of the video.
But there's still so much on my love channel.
That's right, such as my other What If content and the most recent What Ifs as well.
Not to mention his playlist, where you can watch all of his other What Ifs.
Which, all said and done, this is Leon.
And Shiro.
And you're watching Leon Mookie.